I'm Devin de Vries, and I'm one of the 3 co-founders of WhereIsMyTransport.
And Devin, what is WhereIsMyTransport?
So WhereIsMyTransport is many things to different people, but first and foremost, we are a technology startup that is focused on enabling freedom of movement within emerging markets.
Where did the idea for WhereIsMyTransport come from?
So it goes quite a ways back. It all started under the auspices of a university thesis back in 2007, and ultimately that led us on to a global competition known as the Imagine Cup in 2008. And due to doing very well in that competition, we thought, hey, maybe this has legs, maybe we should actually try and make a go at this. And that was really the birth of WhereIsMyTransport.
And WhereIsMyTransport, as you were describing to me earlier, has gone through sort of 3 phases. Give me the brief summary of the 3 phases, because in a sense it's gone sort of B2C, B2B, B2G. So how do we get from one to the other?
Yeah, sure. I mean, investors will often ask, like at the pitch, well, what's taken you so long? And I guess the way to look at it is we were always trying to address the same problem. How do we help everyone to get to where they want to go? And we started off trying to do that from a business to consumer side, but we quickly realized that we weren't able to give accurate, reliable information to people. So then we looked at why that information wasn't forthcoming, and we then tried to provide the operators or the B2B component with the tools that they needed to digitize that information. And then again with that we found that, well, there was still a flaw in that there wasn't some underlying platform that could pull together what is essentially a very legacy-ridden sector, because it's been around, mobility has been around for as long as we've been around. And cities have many layers of infrastructure, and how do we enable the city to deal with both its old and its new and essentially unlock the hidden potential that it already has? And that's really where we got to the 3rd leg, and kind of the leg that we're now focused on is enabling cities to connect those various forms of mobility, and then also working back through that stack of now how do we approach those businesses, again, those operators, and provide them the tools that they need.
And your first customer as a South African company was the City of Cape Town. So describe for me what you did for the city.
Well, the focus for the city was really to put the imperative back on the consumer, back on the commuter, and essentially answer the question for them, which is where would you like to go and what are the options that are available to you? And that led us to building out the first B2G component, which was this platform to pull together the various forms of mobility and the various layers of infrastructure within the city. And at that point we realized that there was a strong appetite and need for this, and maybe in hindsight, if we had analyzed some of the data sooner, we would have realized that, while the apps were very much the red herring when we looked at the likes of London and New York, and well, why is the information so forthcoming there? It's not actually because there are many apps, it's because there's some centralized platform, centralized store from which that information can be drawn.
And you've got a second customer now, which is the How Train and How Bus. So how does that work?
So that's a customer that you'd refer to as an operator level customer. They're employing the platform to connect in their information both from their bus as well as their rail systems. And essentially it's about allowing their consumers the reliability of being able to know that the information is coming from Gautrain themselves. But further than that, it's also providing to Gautrain the tools that they need to also update commuters in real time as to when disruptions to service or delays occur and that kind of thing. Because at the end of the day, people just want to know. They don't mind if something is a bit late or running behind time or the schedule changes. They just want to know.
And you've gone from being a South African company to a UK company. Why have you done that?
So it's a many-faceted decision, but I would say one of the major aspects was that in order to build something like WhereIsMyTransport, with a sort of ambitious view that we have to connect mobility across an entire continent, it requires a certain scale of funding. And what we found was that within the ecosystem that we were in within South Africa, it was a challenge to know with certainty that not only could you raise that angel round, but that you could also achieve the sort of necessary raises for the follow-on Series A and the Series B round. And essentially, we just needed to put ourselves into a wider pool of potential funders, and for that reason, London was a good place.
Two funders in your first round. Who are they?
So when we speak about the first half of the Series A, that's what, I mean, as we sit here today, I think we're about to announce that tomorrow. Yes, we've, the first two funders to that round, the lead investors, if you will, are Omajar Network and Goodwill Investments. So one Valley-based investor, one EU-based investor. And after the product launch on August 30th, we will then go on to also raising the subsequent half of the round. Prior to that, a year ago, when we made the initial move to the UK, we also had an angel round where we raised investment from around about 6 individuals and 1 or 2 companies, but on a completely different scale to the current round. And those investors range from senior executives at Uber to people on the board of Rocket Internet. So we've got some good people also within that stable. And it's turned out to be the right move for the company.
This is a product designed for emerging markets, and you focused on Africa and other countries like that. Where are you getting interest from within Africa and elsewhere?
So the interest that we're receiving from within Africa ranges across both the east and west coasts of Africa, if you will. There's also a lot of interest coming out of the MENA region. Essentially just keeping an eye on those countries, those cities that are now sort of moving into a new phase in their city planning, how they approach their public transport integrated strategies, how they're starting to formalize centralized transport bodies, which is something we can obviously liken to many of the more matured public transport ecosystems that we're familiar with. We've also received significant interest out of the Latin America market as well as Southeast Asia. However, we're reticent about, going too far down that road at the moment, because then it obviously stretches your operations as well. So the focus for now is very much within the MEA region.